Good morning. Good morning and welcome. We are online and in person for Coffee with the Birds Birding Tidbit. So I can get all of your attention. We're going to get started. If you're back there getting coffee, finish up what you're doing and join us in here for the presentation. Welcome to those of you online. Let us know if you're having any issues with viewing anything, and I'm going to try to pull this up just a little bit so that you can see a bit better. Let me know if that is working okay or not. And if you want to sit there, yes, you may do that. All right. Does that look okay online, everybody? Let me know. Of course, I won't be able to respond to you right now, but I can actually see comments there. Actually, I can. Looks good. Okay, excellent. Can you hear me all right, too? I am looking at comments right now, and it's totally fine. Oh, excellent. I love it. Thank you, Rick, for helping with this setup, with the camera, with the little Bluetooth microphone, etc. So, good morning and welcome to Coffee with the Birds. My name is Curtis Dykstra, Parks Naturalist and Program Supervisor with Ottawa County Parks. Those of you who were in the feeder watching session with me already had that intro, but I give it again because there's a whole another audience here. Those of you coming for this presentation in the second feeder watching session afterwards. So welcome to those of you who have just arrived. We had a great time watching the bird feeders, and I anticipate another great feeder watching session after this. But this is where we all come together and enjoy talking about birds, and also where I give a little bite-sized presentation on anything bird related. Well, where do we go with that? The 2025 Mug Club photo contest is where we go with that. If you didn't watch the mug reveal, which was on the 25th of November, you can do that yet online. We did it live streamed, so you can check that out. There's also a video of all of the 167 entries. Amazing that we have that kind of participation. We love it. We love getting the photos from every one of you. So thank you for entering. And what is the 2026 winner? Well, the winners include these honorable mentions: the Ruby Crown Kinglet by Ryan Beebe, who is also the winner from last year. And Ryan is right here, so congrats to Ryan. Give him a round of applause. And if you are here, let me know. Matt Anger, White-Eyed Vireo. Is Matt here? He's not, but we'll give you a round of applause anyway. Red-Breasted Nuthatch by Janet Lewis. She is here, right here. And Snowy Owl by Lene Roon. Where's Lene? I think she was going to be here. She's maybe not here yet. So, congratulations to Lene. But our grand prize winner was this one. June Kuiper shot this Great Blue Heron in Park Township. Stuyvesant Trails. It's not a county park, but we'll let it go. I always have to say that. Congratulations to Park Township Parks on getting a great shot in the on the mug. So let's give June a round of applause, because June is here, right over here. Boy, I've got 4 winners right in one view right here. 4 out of the 9 mugs are represented right here by these 4. My goodness, that's great. Love it. They're congregating together over there. They're flocking. That's right. They're flocking. Okay. Yeah, is this a major eruption? So congratulations. And if you join the Mug Club, you can get this wonderful mug. You can join by clicking this QR code right here or going onto the website, miottawa.org/birding, and click on the Mug Club icon. We'll get you to purchasing a mug. A note on the mugs, we got a second shipment. We actually were a little less satisfied with the print job this time, and I had let the people know on the eve of the reveal that they were sending new ones. They came and they were the same. They didn't have any change. So we're still, how do I want to put it? We'll let you know if we can work something out with the vendor. That's fresh. Like that literally just happened late this week. So don't have news on them. Haven't reached out to them yet. We'll let you know if we can work out anything with them. So get your mugs. and we'll let you know afterwards if we can do anything about that. But the mugs are beautiful regardless. They don't do as much justice for your photo as what the actual photo is, and if you haven't seen it in person, it is along with all of the winners, are in a display here in the Rotunda at the Nature Center. So if you are online, do come to the Nature Center, check out the Rotunda display of all of the winners. We've got 9 photos up there for you to enjoy. And if you join the mug club, you get this mug, you get door prize, an entry, the door prizes right over here for Coffee with the Birds events. You get hot drink cards, you get magnets, you can go on members only bird walks, picnic with the birds event in July, and knowing that you support Coffee with the Birds and feeding the birds here at the Nature Center. So thank you all for your support. Raise your mugs if you are a Mug Club member. Thank you all for your support. We had over 50 people before today purchase memberships. Thank you very much. You help sustain this program. All right. Also, you can purchase calendars for $25 a piece. This is the front of the calendar. And the Career Line Tech Center is the students in the Environmental Field Studies class put this together. They took some of their favorites in addition to the winners and put them in this beautiful calendar, and you can support them and enjoy the birds all year round for $25, cash or check only, to the OAISD school district. And you can do that. There's a student back there. They are also here volunteering. There's 5 of them here. So let's give the CTC students a round of applause. There they are. There's someone at the back, right there. Thank you. They got their volunteer lapels on, little lanyards on. Thank you so much. I'll tell you what, they helped set up last night. Been tremendous. So thank you all for being here and helping to make this be successful today. And hopefully you get a lot of people buying a lot of your beautiful calendars. That was created in-house and printed in-house. The other class did the printing, right? Yeah. So this is all made by high school students, and you can support them in their work by purchasing a calendar. We're not going to look at the calendars, the pictures that are inside. Not right now. You can look at the calendars in person over there. Those of you who are here at the Mug Reveal know that I gave a presentation on birding in New Mexico, Utah, Idaho, and Washington. And I just wanted to give you all an update. So I post my travel birding videos online under the Oven Birder YouTube name. That's my username there on YouTube. And there is now a part 2 to my birding in Idaho. So if you haven't watched it, it is now posted, where I go looking for the cassia crossbill and the white-headed woodpecker. If you were in person and you saw it online, I presented a bit about it, but you get to see some video work and other things, and me commentary in person in Idaho. So check out the video. You can find it here. If you take a picture of the screen, you can get this, or just look up the Oven Birder on YouTube, and you should come up with my channel. So, and I will be posting more in the future. I plan in January, late January, to go to Nevada and have some more stories, maybe in February, for you to know how I did in February. So I'm going for 50 birds in all 50 states by the time I'm 50 years old, which is a year and a few months from now. So how close am I? I got to do New York to Maine in June. After Nevada, I got to do New York to Maine. All of those states I've been to, but I haven't birded. And then in January or early 2027, my birthday is in March, I am hoping to go to my 50th state. I've been to 49 out of 50 states. The one that I haven't been to is the one that's the hardest to get to. That's Hawaii. And I'm researching that right now as to what that would take. So Hawaii 2027, that's the hope. All right, an update on the photo contest categories. There were 84 suggestions on what categories we could create. I am in the process of organizing those into categories themselves. And I'm analyzing the data. We will make a decision here at the Nature Center, hopefully by January, what categories we would like to add to the photo contest for next year. So thank you, those of you who submitted your input. Very helpful. It has already gotten me some good ideas, and hopefully I'll be able to reveal that in January. So thank you for participating. Thank you for live stream being provided by Point of Light Media, which is Rick Veldman. He's going under this new name as opposed to Kestrel Imagery, same person. He's a friend of mine. He's also a birder and a great videographer. So glad to have his expertise with the live streaming and this setup right here. And then also a few words, we're going to have a few words from Scott with Aldea Coffee. They have provided all of the coffee and coffee service today. Let's give a round of applause to both Rick and Aldea. So I'm going to hand it over to Scott, and he's going to tell you a bit about, here, why don't you use this clicker right here, sure. That button right there will get you to your slides.
Okay, hello everybody. All right. Oh, I'll put that little. Sure.
Just make sure I get it right.
Cool. Oh yeah, I'm not keeping it. All right, cool. Hey everybody, I'm Scott. I'm the head roaster for Aldea Coffee. If you're not familiar with us, we have a couple cafes in West Michigan, one in Grand Haven, one in Muskegon. And we roast all of our coffee in our solar-powered roastery just north of here in Muskegon. So I'm going to talk a little bit about Aldea, a little bit about the coffee that you're drinking today, because it is bird-related, and a little bit about my recent trip to Honduras. And I'm going to do my best to relate it all to birds. So no small feat, 5 minutes. Here we go. Okay, great. So these are some of my friends that I work with, Brittany and Emma. I'll talk about this particular place in a minute. But Aldea Coffee, if you're not familiar, we largely get most of our coffee from Honduras in a specific area called the Lampira region. It's about 80% of our coffee comes from there. We started as a nonprofit working specifically in that area and have been working with the producers there for the last 15 so years. So the coffee that you're drinking today has a couple of micro lots, which means small producer, small share farmer coffees in them, 2 of them from Honduras and 1 from Tanzania. I built this blend, and it is topical. It is called the Dawn Chorus Blend. So this is about 3 years ago. So this was in isolation of this event. I didn't just do it for this, but the Dawn Chorus, if you're not familiar, is my favorite natural phenomenon that happens every single morning when the birds start to tweet, Twitter, sing, when they see the sunrise in the morning, right? So it's said that it's when they see it, and the biggest eyed birds are the first to start singing, apparently. I like to think that it's because they're hearing the birds behind them, following the sun. And actually part of what I was thinking about when I built this blend was John Young's image of the Dawn Chorus. If you've never read What the Robin Knows, it's a really wonderful book. I am a fellow bird nerd, I forgot to say. So so there's like a tiny bit of authority up here. And I'm also a wildlife tracker. So, okay, tiny bit of authority. Anyway, what the Robin Knows, John Young talks about the Dawn Chorus being a wave of song that follows the sun around the earth continuously forever, right? So as long as there's been a sun, as long as there's been birds, there's song happening following that sun, right? So I was thinking about our connection to Honduras, the people that help produce the coffee that you're all enjoying right now, hopefully enjoying, and then also the birds. And so some of the things that happen on coffee plantations are growing trees that will kind of be overstory for the crops. It's a more sustainable way of growing coffee for shade, but it also allows for more biodiversity and birds to be there. And they kind of help with pest control. So I was kind of thinking about it. It was in the winter, and I was thinking about all of our birds that migrate down to Central America, one of them being the wood thrush, and another one being the Baltimore Oriole, right? So I got to go down to Honduras, and I was like, yes, excited about the tropical birds, the scarlet macaws, the blue and gold macaws, right? But I was also super super excited to maybe see one of our birds that goes down there, right? Okay, cool. So this is in Honduras, Aldea. Development is the nonprofit. That's our little warehouse there. This is at a sanctuary, a macaw sanctuary called the Macaw Mountain, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So there I am, went down to Honduras, and I think it was end of February. So there I'm with Walberto. He's one of our producers, and actually his coffee is in the coffee you're drinking today. That's in one of his coffee fields. You can see just behind us is about a 2-year-old coffee tree. It takes about 4 years before you really start to get cherries, was what they call them in the industry, from the tree. So there's a succession that happens throughout it, right? This is a nice sunrise picture. This was supposed to let you know, or to start talking about the dawn course. But anyway, so there's a nice sunrise picture in La Union. And then here's just a really quick plug while I was down in Honduras. Right before we made it to this area called Copan, we were driving up this mountain pass, leaving La Union, which is where a lot of the farmers live that we work with. And I was still haven't seen my Michigan birds yet, or they're not really Michigan birds, right? They're always traveling, but the ones that I'm used to seeing here. And we're driving up the mountain pass and looking over at Carolina's fields, which is another producer that we work with. And in my side view, I was on the back of a truck. I don't have a picture, okay? Because I was holding on the back of a truck. We're going 50 miles an hour on a dirt road, right? Which is like common travel in Honduras, right? And so I didn't corner my eye, I see a flash of orange, and I look and try to get out my phone, but there was a Baltimore Oriole darting away from us into the woods. So I did see a Baltimore Oriole, and then 3 weeks later coming home, I saw another one at my feeder. So it was kind of fun. Probably not the same bird, but I like to think it was the same bird that followed me back. So anyway, dawn course blend, we have, which you can enjoy any time of year, and we can get at the shops here. But it's a really quick, shameless plug of the Copan ruins. I really recommend to travel to Honduras, and specifically to go to Copan. It's a it's a UNESCO World Heritage Site of Mayan ruins. And a really cool, nice little town with karaoke bars and stuff like that in it too. But you can see here, I hope you can see in the picture, but just above the ruins are all these wild scarlet macaws. So while you're going through this really ancient feeling place with all these trees that are starting to grow into it, you can hear this raucous sound of the parrots above you. And it's a really cool feeling. So recommend going to Honduras, checking out Copan, and please support Aldea and come check us out at the cafes at some point. So thanks for listening. Thanks, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Here, let me have the.
Oh yeah. I didn't mean to steal
Otherwise,
that.
they'll hear you in the back and won't hear me. Yeah. Thank you again to Scott and Andrew and the whole crew from Aldea Coffee to join us this morning. And they are going to be providing coffee for the rest of the events this year. So thank you very much to them for that. I'm just going to tell you, we're going to run a little over. I think that you're pretty used to me saying that. It is, well, the tree's in the way of the clock, 10:50. I purposely left this a little shorter than normal. We're going to do some of the high level, Great Blue Heron stuff. But when we're done here, then we will go in there. We can still do a full hour in there for the feeder watch. But we may go a little longer than 11 o'clock here. Maybe that's what I need to do so I can give Scott more than 5 minutes, is actually extend this time. If that's something that you would enjoy, we're starting to crowd that out a little bit. Maybe we need to give it a full hour. I don't know. I'm going to just throw that out there. I see heads nodding. I don't want to take too much of your time during the day, but maybe you want that. Let me know. You can send an email to OC Parks and let us know what you want with Coffee with the Birds. I want what you want. I want to adjust to making this your experience so that you can enjoy it the best that you can. And you know what? Maybe I wouldn't be hurried so much with getting things all set up over here. So with that said, I won't waste any more time. We'll get into the birding tidbits here on the Great Blue Heron. You see, when we revealed the mug, then I had to hurry up and make this presentation because it was a week and a half ago that we revealed the mug. Of course, I knew the winner a little before that, but I didn't have time to put this together until late in the game. I like to give a presentation on the bird featured on the mug. It's just a fun way to honor that bird, to honor the person that took the photo. And so here we go. June, this is for you, and this is for the Great Blue Heron, and this is for all of you all. So what is in a name? Great Blue Heron. Ardea herodias is the scientific name. Well, first of all, great and blue. They are great, right? They're big. And they are blue. Now, some people say, hey, they're gray. Well, they're gray-blue. And if you see them in the right light and the light shines off of them in the right way, you do see blue in that. It's more of a denim blue than a bright blue like my shirt, but it is blue. Heron. Well, the Proto-Germanic, so this is where it gets into some complications. We're not going to hang here very long. It's all circumspect. It's all possible, possibly. You know, they don't know quite where it came from, but I put some of the interesting tidbits on here. It's probably from Proto-Germanic hygro. Hygro is the word that is possibly related to scry or scry. So high, scry, you can hear that that vowel sound in there, and they think that scry or skr, I don't know if I'm saying that right, refers to actually a scream, a screech, or a caw, or a crow. Anybody knows what they sound like, you know that that's appropriate. So that's where they're drawing that relation. But what about ardea? Ardea is the Greek word for heron. There it is. There are herons all around the world. So the Greeks had herons as well, not our great blue heron, but other herons of similar nature. There's other in the genus Ardea from around the world that look similar to our great blue heron. The gray heron in Europe is the other Ardea that I have on my life list. If you've all been to Europe, maybe you've seen what looks like a great blue heron. It's a great gray heron.
They look the same.
They look very similar. Very similar. There are differences, yes. Yep. So Herodias is Greek for the realm of Herod. So there was an interesting take on that, which had to do with some Hebrew. That it may have to do with the Hebrew verb, and I'm not going to try to, I can say arad, meaning to flee, or harad, meaning to tremble or be afraid of. Maybe that's because it's so big. So there might be connections to even the Hebrew words. Of course, the Hebrews and Herod have a history. So there may be connection there. So identification, first of all. Everybody look at June, because she's embarrassed. You see this? Back in 2018, our second annual photo contest, June submitted this picture for consideration to get on the mug. And I think, June, that was when you were really starting to get into it, right? And so, but you know what? I love putting it in here because she's been a consistent entrant into this competition every year. And I have seen in a lot of photographers a lot of growth in their photography abilities. And this picture also demonstrates the fact that they are 4 feet tall. So there is a reason why I wanted this picture in here. Look how tall they're standing. When they erect that neck and stand up tall on their legs, they are a formidable bird. 4 feet tall and a 6-foot wingspan. Okay? Large birds. Only 5 to 6 pounds. They're all feathers and hollow bones. That's an adaptation for flight. So they have to weigh very little in order for them to fly. So even large birds like eagles don't weigh that much. The males and females are virtually the same. The males apparently are just a little bit bigger on average than the females, but it's probably not a difference that you're going to be able to see. And in flight, I like for the identification. What's the wrong photo in this slide here? The one on the left. What is this? That is a sandhill crane. Anybody notice the difference between the sandhill crane on the left and the great blue heron here on the right? The neck. Okay? Notice that when they fly, and that's not right when they take off. When they take off, they often have their neck extended. But as they take flight, they tuck their neck in this S shape right here. So it looks like just a little bit of a head and a beak sticking out. Whereas this guy, always, the cranes have their necks extended and a smaller beak here. But they do have their legs trailing behind, and they are a fairly large bird. So in flight, learn to identify your herons. All the herons tuck their necks in like this. Green heron, same thing. So what do they sound like? This guy looks like he's calling. He's probably not, but they often call in flight. We talked about how the name might even be connected to its sound. A beautiful big bird like this has got to sound beautiful, right? You all know. It says Frank. Is that not gonna? There we go. There we go. I'm going to start that one over because we missed the very beginning. That is the most common sound that you'll hear. I'm going to play it one more time. So you can hear the frunk, whoop, frunk, and then that rah, rah, rah. Not a beautiful song. Very identifiable, very loud. You'll hear it over long distances. So if you're out in the wetland habitats and you hear this, you don't even have to see it. You know what that is. Enough. So breeding, their range is most of the U.S. That includes the red and the purple is their breeding range. The yellow here is actually migration. So they are over most of North America, southern Canada included, all the way to southern Alaska here. What's interesting is that during migration, they show up in this Rocky Mountain corridor in the Southwest desert here as well. So kind of interesting in that they show up a little north of their range up in Canada here to the Hudson Bay. So just about to the Hudson Bay, I should say. And then in the winter, they shift south. So you can see this is like what I was talking about in relation to the migration of blue jays and goldfinches. You've got this population up here that's only there during the summer, but they shift south. So the abundance of birds in our area is going to shift dramatically in the winter. We don't have nearly as many here in the winter, but we do have them year round, okay? And they shift south all the way down as far south as Panama and Venezuela down here, okay? And they will be as far north as the ice up will allow them, basically. So kind of like waterfowl, eagles, they do the same thing. Anything that is dependent on finding fish and aquatic prey. Habitat, what do I say? Wetlands, right? This is pretty typical habitat. Now, are they always going to be in something like this? No. You know, they love river corridors. Okay, and I'll say more about that in a little bit. River corridors, so they're going to feed where there's water, and river corridors are where the wetlands are. Okay, lakes and ponds. So out in the middle, where's Scott? Is Scott here? Oh, you're right in front of me. I'm like looking out here. Scott, thank you for your awesome photo. Scott Schmidt took this photo in his yard on the Grand River of this eating, I think it's a crappie, isn't it? I think it's a crappie. And this picture is actually featured on one of our displays at Ottawa Sands County Park when talking about wooden structures being helpful to attract fish, which then attract the birds, etc. So thank you, Scott, for providing that. So lakes and ponds, the edges of lakes and ponds where they can wade in. Anything to do with water. Or agriculture, especially in the winter, they can adjust, and sometimes, it's not common, but they will go into ag fields and they will catch mice and other things like that. So if they're hungry, cold weather comes in and they haven't gotten out in front of it, then they'll switch over into ag fields as well. So nesting, they nest in what's called a heronry or a rookery. Some people say it's not a rookery. That's for rooks in Europe. Rooks is a bird. It's like a blackbird. So heronry or rookery is the common name for a conglomeration of nests that are typically pretty close to wetland areas, pretty close to where their feeding areas are, so within 2 to 4 miles or so, but they can fly a long way to get to their feeding areas. So they don't have to nest. Can you imagine if there were 100 nests, which some of these heronries can have 100+ nests, if they all fed at the one pond that's right there, they're not going to get along, right? So these birds have to disperse. And I'll talk more about that later. But these heronries are a communal nesting area. They have some courtship and defense behaviors. So the courtship behavior is that they'll bring sticks back to the nest and hand it off to the mate. And then they'll also erect their plumes on their head and on their chest. You can see the little plumes flying off the side, off the back of the head there. And they also have some defense behaviors like this. They'll raise their wings up and erect their neck. You can see this guy is actually chasing off a mallard duck down here. So these heronries, like I said, they can be anywhere from just a few nests all the way up to over 100 nests at some times. And their clutch size is usually 2 to 6 eggs. They typically one brood, especially further north. Down south, they might do 2 broods where they have a little more time to breed. The incubation period is about a month. So these guys are going to be breeding by the start of April, generally. The breeders come back sometime in March when you get that first influx of birds coming back in, the killdeer and the red-winged blackbirds and stuff, then you can start looking for herons. And they'll usually start nesting and laying eggs by the 1st of April. So then by the end of April, you've got nestlings, and by the, May, end of June, then you're going to have fledglings that are starting to fly. So over 3 months is the period of nesting. Let's see, what else did I want? And the young are actually, they hatch with their eyes open and they're partially covered with down. So they're semi-altricial, if you use your scientific terms. They're not ready to get up and move around like a lot of shorebirds are or killdeer, but they're not fully blind and naked like cardinal or robin is. Somewhere in between. So the longest lived, the information that I had on the longest lived, thank you for bringing that up because that actually was in my notes for that slide, is over 20 years. So like 24 years, but that's not typical. So probably in the realm of like the 10 to 15 year range is more common. But they did band a bird that was over 20 years old. So, yep. They're not short-lived birds. Larger birds are going to live longer. Smaller birds are generally going to live shorter lives. So some of the adaptations that are pretty cool. Okay, long legs. Where are the legs? They're all underneath the water. Why do they have those long, bare legs? To wade into deeper water. It allows them to catch bigger fish in the deeper waters and access those fish where other birds can't, right? The smaller herons or the other shorter wading birds can't do it. So they have long, long legs for wading. They have a long neck that they actually curl up and like a spring to shoot out in a very, very quick motion to grab their prey. So that long neck can disappear and get tucked as when they're flying, but also can be extended here and is used as a weapon to catch their prey. And they have a dagger beak. This beak can both grab like tongs, but it can also skewer, as you'll see. Their feet are really pretty unique. You can find their tracks on the beach sometimes. You can find it in wetlands and mud. This is what the tracks look like. Why do they have such long toes? Think about walking in a swamp. Okay? You want wide toes to keep you from sinking in the snow, or sinking in the mud, kind of like snowshoes keep you from sinking in the snow, right? It spreads their weight out. Now, they don't weigh a whole lot, but it still helps to keep them from sinking further down. So it aids them in walking in very mucky habitats. Very easy to identify. There's nothing, I mean, this is 6 to 8 inches. It's huge, okay? And the powder down adaptation. So this bit of feather here actually provides like a powdery down that they will preen through their feathers like a napkin, and it cleans off fish guts and slime and all kinds of stuff that, you know, if you've handled a fish or a frog, you know that they're kind of slimy. And if it gets on their feathers, that's a liability. So this powder down actually is continuously growing, and then it wears off as they preen it through their feathers to get rid of that in their feathers. And they can sit here and do this and look like they're in some sort of a trance. They're actually heating up here to get rid of parasites. So they'll spread their wings out like that to kind of dry up, but also to get rid of parasites. So, and they also are known to have really good vision at night. They have more rods than cones in their retinas on the back of their eye, kind of like owls, but maybe not quite as pronounced as owls, but they will hunt at night. There are even night herons that prefer to hunt at night, different species, yellow crowned and black crowned night heron. So they will hunt at night. You can even see the yellow eye. I don't know if that has something to do with it, like an owl does. So what is their diet and feeding? First of all, their method of hunting. Like I said, they if they're nesting, they're going to leave that nest area, fly out to one of their scoped out habitats nearby, That's when you see them flying over weird areas that don't have water, like your house, right? You see these herons, and you're like, what is it doing? It's going from A to B, point A to point B to hunt, okay? And then when they get there, how do they hunt? Well, they either wade through actively looking, or they sit and wait. Like June's photo, you sat and waited and watched, and we'll hear more about that later. In this little patch of open water when everything else was frozen, and waited for a fish to come, and this largemouth bass got the short straw and got eaten. So patience is the name of the game for great blue heron. And this video I took, this will be coming up in my next Washington video. This was taken near Olympia this last June, which shows how they hunt when they're active hunters. You can see he's got his head turned. I think that's probably so that he can see into the water at the right angle, depending on where the sun is coming in. He doesn't get anything. I follow this guy. I mean, we could watch this for the full length, but that is how they hunt their prey. If they're not going to wait and they pursue, then they'll walk slowly like that, looking down into the water. I'm going to move that on. So what is their diet? You ready for this? Obviously fish. It could be small fish like that largemouth bass, or it can be huge ones like this. Looks like a carp. So they are known for catching and eating large fish that will slide down their elastic neck, and they can swallow it. They can do it. It's amazing. I don't think he'll eat for like a week, and I don't know how he'll fly after catching something that maybe weighs as much as him, if not more. Like, maybe he just walks and sits. So fish is the number one thing that they eat, but that causes a problem with fish hatcheries, because that's prime fish, right? So fish hatcheries don't like them. Well, you know what it's been found is that through studies they've found that are they a problem with fish hatcheries? Maybe not as much as what you think, because what do they tend to eat? The sick ones that are spending a lot of time up at the surface that aren't doing so well. So it's playing that predator role like wolves and elk and or caribou or things like that, right? Where you get rid of the unhealthy ones and it actually makes the flock healthier. There has been evidence that they actually will take the sick and easiest to catch. Like I said, they will skewer as well. This poor frog shows that, but they will eat frogs, large frogs and small frogs, and they will use that bill in multiple different ways. And check this out. I think this is actually a cottonmouth that's being eaten here. This is a lot of the pictures that are unmarked here are off of Pixabay, which is free use images. So this is a pretty amazing free use image here. And you can see a bunch of them is down in the gullet already. Hopefully it can't bite him on the inside if it's a cottonmouth. I think that's a cottonmouth water moccasin. So anything that they can come across, basically, that moves in those wetland areas, they will eat. That includes things like small ducklings and things like that too. So a wide variety. And in the farm fields here, we have got, is Cindy here? I don't think Cindy's here. She might be online. Hey, Cindy, you made the program. They'll go into the farm fields, like I said, and feed on rodents. This is where I get into coming full circle to Ottawa County. So when and where in Ottawa County? This map comes from eBird, okay? This is Ottawa County. I zoomed into Ottawa County. You can see Grand Rapids here. We've got Grand Haven over here. We're right about here, and Holland down here. Does anybody notice something about this map? You do. Say it out. Say it louder, Sarah. The rivers. What three rivers do we have in Ottawa County? The Grand River, the Pigeon River, and the Macatawa River. This is proof positive that they're using these river corridors. These are the eBird reports. This is where you see the abundance of them. During the breeding season is red, during non-breeding season is blue, and then the yellows are pre- and post-breeding season. You can see that they follow the greenways. And I'm gonna bring this up because we in Ottawa County Parks focus our park system on greenways. and preserving land along these greenways because they are so valuable to wildlife, including the Great Blue Heron. So we've got parks along the Grand River Greenway. We've got parks along the Pigeon River Greenway, right here, as in Hemlock Crossing, Pigeon Creek, and then Wind's Nest Park out here is pretty close to where it exits into Lake Michigan. Oh, wait, and what about that Macatawa River Greenway, Upper Macatawa Natural Area, Paw Paw Park, all the way out to Lake Macatawa, Hobbs there. It's all connected. And when we preserve lands that are valuable to wildlife, wildlife benefits. And we benefit because we can enjoy watching them too. So that is what we are about in Ottawa County Parks, and I hope that you guys can get out and enjoy the greenways and maybe see your own great blue herons. Now you know where to find them. Here's that map again. Overlay of our greenways here in Ottawa County. So when do you want to go? Like I said, year-round, right? They're here year-round, but where are you going to, when is the best time to find them? It's actually during the spring and summer, right? That's when we have the greatest abundance. So we may be in the purple, but we're going to get more here from, we'll get migrants from late March arriving, and we'll get them leaving usually by November. So that's that window between late March and November is your best time to see great blue herons here. Now, can you find them in the winter? Yes, but they're not a dime a dozen. Is this a good place to find them? Potentially, yeah. Right here on the Pigeon River, we've got a feed of subterranean water coming into. So we've got groundwater flowing into the upper reaches of the river here, which helps to keep it open even in cold water, so cold weather. So that's why I heard a belted kingfisher earlier this morning when I was feeding the birds. Those of you who saw me feeding the birds last second, I was hearing a belted kingfisher. They're hunting fish in a different way, but they need open water just like a great blue heron. So, but what is interesting? This information comes from the Birds of Ottawa County annotated checklist. And I think I have permission from the authors to put this up on the screen here because I know them personally, all three of them. Carl and Judy are probably on right now. Carl and Judy Manning and Chip Frankie put together a book in 2015 and updated it in 2020 with this kind of information on all the birds that have ever been seen in Ottawa County. You can purchase it for $15 at the Nature Center here. We have it available. And the 5-year supplement for 2020, there's a QR code in the book that you can scan, and it gives you the updates. What's interesting that I read in here from their research is that their population may be impacted by winter weather. So in here, you can see that the colony in 1953 that was recorded had 104 nests. And there was, Fred Beavis was a retired professor of biology, and he for a long time was monitoring these nests, these heronries. And what he noticed is he correlated distinct drops in the number of birds nesting at these rookeries after years or after winters that had extreme amounts of snow. It's a little bit anecdotal, so there need to be more research on it, but I thought that was interesting, that maybe it knocked down some nests, maybe it just deterred them from coming back in large numbers, maybe more stayed further south. It's hard to say what, but I thought that was a really interesting take on the research that had been active here. So, but the fact of the matter is, we need to talk conservation. This is an abstract from the Michigan Natural Features Inventory Report. And while they are not threatened or endangered, great blue herons are vulnerable. And that's the word that the report uses. They're vulnerable due to their colonial nesting and the declining availability of suitable nesting habitat. So they have to have these tall trees surrounding wetlands and enough wetlands for them to be able to hunt in. And those wetlands can't just be surrounded by houses and golf courses and things like that. Having good habitat at the edges is going to increase the fish that live there and increase the frogs that live there and increase the number of birds that can live there as well. So they need to have both good nesting habitat and then also surrounding habitat. And because of the threats to those habitats, they're declining, threats of them declining, they are vulnerable to our human behavior. So we need to keep that in mind. One of the reasons, again, why we like to preserve these areas along the Grand River, the Macatawa River, and the Pigeon River is for that very reason. They're so valuable for wildlife. And they recommend for conservation to reduce disturbance at rookeries and nearby feeding areas. So if you know of a rookery, it's probably best, I'd like to know about it, especially if it's in a park, if you find one, but we need to keep the public away from there because disturbance, especially at the beginning, will cause them to abandon nests. So if you're a photographer, if you're a birder, and you're going out and you want to take pictures of these herons up close because it seems like they're not going to go away, don't do it. Be more mindful of what the bird needs than what we need. And that's hard for me to say because I like to go see those birds too. But we need to be mindful, especially when they're nesting, to keep your distance and let them do their thing so that they can survive and thrive. Boy, I got through that pretty quick, didn't I? Hopefully, you learned a few new things about the great blue heron and can enjoy them more as you get out and go birding, even this winter, but especially on into the spring and through the summer. Are there any questions on the great blue heron?
I don't have a question.
Yeah.
I'm curious, how many cervical vertebrae do they have? And I looked it up and it said 21.
21. So it's not like,
It's not like a mammal.
what's that?
It's not like a mammal.
Not like a mammal. What does a mammal have? 6. 7. That all goes into these curves here. You said it was what? 21 cervical vertebrae in the neck of a great blue heron to allow them to do what they do. That's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate it. I have research help over here. Thank you, Karen. So I repeat that so everybody online can hear that too. Any other questions, comments? Any other researchers out there? No? Oh, one last one. Okay. Yeah, they're in the same family of birds of herons and egrets. Herons and egrets are generally referring to the ones that are white, but they are all kind of in that same wading bird family. Yeah, yep. Are they solitary? Well, not during nesting. Then they're communal. But when they're hunting, typically they are. So when they go out from the nest and they're hunting, they're typically not together. Now, that place where I was in Olympia, Washington, where I saw that one, there were dozens of them. And that's because the tide was coming into the very tip. I was at the very base of the Puget Sound, and the tide was out, but it was starting to come back in. And they had these little creeks and rivets of water that they could hunt in that had higher concentrations of fish. So there were tons of them there. So it depends really on the feeding and the situation. Yeah.
Do you know how long it takes for them as little fledgling babies before they are out hunting and things and diggers? Like how long is that development?
So from egg laying to fledging out of the nest is about 3 months. Now, will they be hunting right away? Probably not so much. It'll probably be a transition through the summer. But by the middle or end of that summer, then they'll be on their own. Yep. Do they mate for life? Thank you for asking that. They do not mate for life. They typically have a new mate every year. So now, does that mean that they won't mate with the one that they had the previous year? I don't think that means that, but it means that typically they're not too picky about maintaining the same mate. So, good question. Yeah.
Do the rookeries contain more than great blue herons? Are they a combined mix of herons?
So, are the rookeries combined with other species? Yes, they can be. So, great egrets and other night herons and things can also nest in and near those rookeries, and that's a benefit to them because there's more eyes and ears looking for predators and things like that. Excellent. Well, I am going to move along so that we can get some prizes going here and end the birding tidbits. How did I do? Oh, it's 11:22. Yes. So I'm going to actually see if I can move this over to here. Ryan, you're on the live stream. Are you okay? So there's Ryan. Say hi to Ryan. All right. So we've got some prizes over here, a few more than normal because we have some donated prizes. And if you are a Mug Club member, your name is in here. And so I am going to choose some names. And I think what I'm going to do is to keep this simple. I'm hoping that most of you are here. Let's see. First of all, to the, well, you know what? Well, no, I can't do that. Yeah, can you hold up the seeds? We're going to give away some seed, okay? And I just pulled this out. Mary Maiulo. Is she here? She's not here. So this goes with that. Mary is not here. If you're online, congratulations. You win. Where is she? Avril. She's not here, is she? She's the she's the teacher for the students, and that is well, let's let her choose one of these books.
Okay.
Then you guys will have a new book to study. Okay? So Avril will choose one of these books. Okay. Aldea Coffee. We've got some coffee, and what else is in there? There's some other little things in there. Kathy Hasse. She's not here. Hopefully she didn't just leave. Okay, now these are going to be in-house. Okay? We've got some posters. Peterson's Backyard Birds of the Midwest, and we've got My Birds. This is Great Lakes Audubon has donated some prizes for us. So you'll see a hat at every one of these events. And they are promoting conservation of Michigan birds right here. So for that, I have to get somebody in the crowd here. Sorry, but is Mark Hoffmeyer here? No. Okay, I'm going to quick hurry through this. Keith Van Oosterhout. No, my goodness. Y'all are killing me with this. Maybe we'll just do one poster. Doug Kuiper. Woo! I knew you were here. He's also the photographer of the red-headed woodpecker mug. So they've got 3 mugs between. Now you need to catch up, Doug. I'm expecting some greatness next season. Poster. All right. Or did I say that? No, I did that. Okay. Lydia Borman. Lydia's not here. Speak up. I'm going to go really fast. Wyatt Berkey? No. Mark again? How does that happen? This one. Lydia Borman. I already did that one. These people, did they? Somebody's cheating. Joan Miedema. Not here. My goodness. Lynn Rutan. Lynn's not here. What is that?
Let me try one.
Okay.
Here you go.
Yeah. Allie can try.
Cindy Dobrik.
No, she's not here. I know she's not.
Steve Igo.
No, he's not here. I know who that is too.
We already guessed. Said Joan.
Joan, you know what? Maybe we give up. Scott Schmidt. All right, Scott. Yeah. A poster. How about we leave it at that, and we'll do more posters later, okay? Thank you, those of you online. Thank you in person. Meet me in the wildlife den here in a few minutes. We'll start. I'll do an hour, okay, of feeder watching. Thank you for staying tuned in a little longer than normal, but I got myself. All right. Take care, and we will see you again at the next Coffee with the Birds.